We're back for another episode of 5 Minute Friday. I promise I have some other videos in the works besides just this series. We're going to change pace a little bit today because I've been focusing a lot on van stuff, van builds, van life, and I have had requests for other things. I've had a lot of questions about how to become a ranger, what it's like to be a ranger, what's it like working for the National Park Service. And so I wanted to do a video today addressing some of those things. First things first, I do have to say I am speaking on my own behalf. I am not representing the government. I am not in uniform. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk park ranger things on this episode of 5 Minute Friday. I want to just mention that if you are curious about working for the National Park Service, you might want to start by volunteering. If you have that luxury, I highly suggest it. That's how I started. I began as a volunteer in the Shark Valley district of Everglades National Park because I'm from Miami and that happened to be the closest location to where I lived. I was working full-time, multiple jobs as per usual, and my only day off that I had available was Sunday, and I decided to start volunteering on Sundays in the national park. This is good for a couple of reasons. One, the reason I started this way was because I had this idea that I wanted to work as a park ranger, but I wasn't sure and I wanted to test it out. So if you're looking to just kind of try it out and see if this is for you, go to volunteer.gov and you will see all the opportunities available for volunteers. There are lots of different areas you can volunteer in, everything from being a campground host to working as an interpretation ranger. The second reason it's really great is because all of that experience that you do as a volunteer can go on to your resume, and it does count as experience. And the other good thing is it kind of gets your foot in the door. Never hurts to have someone know who you are. Let's talk a little bit about the types of jobs available. When people visit a national park, they see the people in the visitor center, they see the people doing the programs and the walks and the talks and things like that. So in everyone's mind, that is a park ranger. That is one type of park ranger. There are so many different positions in the Park Service that are all considered park rangers. I started as an interpretation volunteer, and then I became an interpretation park ranger. That is the one that people are generally thinking of when they think of park ranger. There are also fee rangers. So those are the ones when you drive in and you drive through that fee booth or you walk up to a counter and you pay. Those are the fee rangers. They are responsible for collecting the fees, handling the money. Law enforcement rangers, that is a type of park ranger. Those are the ones that will give you a speeding ticket. So stop speeding in the national parks because you keep killing wildlife and I'm not happy about it. Law enforcement rangers, there's a whole other process that I don't know too much about to do those jobs. There is extra levels of training and that's a whole other thing that I really can't speak to. A lot of parks will have wildland firefighters. Resources, so that is the paleontologists, these are the archaeologists, wildlife biologists, vegetation. Trails, that's more physical labor, you are outside a lot. The maintenance division, some parks are going to have climbing rangers if you're into rock climbing. Some parks have backcountry rangers, administrative. There's a lot of different moving parts. I am a visual information specialist, which is technically under the umbrella of interpretation, but I do more of the stuff behind the scenes, the visual part. Photography, videography, website, social media, a lot of sign making. So I'm always designing and making signs. So if you're interested in being a park ranger, you need to figure out exactly what type of park ranger you want to be. Let's say you know that you want to apply for a government job. You want to become a park ranger for the National Park Service. You have to do a little bit of researching. Applying for a government job, park ranger or another federal job, is a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to work the system. Not work the system, but literally work the system. The first thing you need to get comfortable with using is the website usajobs.gov. There's a bunch of different ways you can search. You can search by job title, park ranger. You can search by department, Department of the Interior. You can search by something a little bit more specific like National Park Service. And then once you have the search that you are looking for, you can actually save it. Usually a position will be posted. It'll usually be open to a certain number of applicants for a certain amount of time. If they reach that number of applicants that they will accept applications from before that time limit is up, they will close it early. So the idea is you want to apply as quick as possible. All right, so now you found a job you want to apply for. Obviously, you're going to need a resume. So the thing with resumes, if you've ever applied to jobs in the private sector, you know that it is very specific. They want it all to fit on one page. There's specific verbiage you want to use. The difference is, in federal jobs, they really want every job and you want to write everything. Like, I used Word, I used Excel, like everything. If you've worked for the federal government for a long time, your resume ends up being like, what you can do is look at the job description, and you want to make sure that if you have done any of those things listed in the job description, you want to make sure those are specifically mentioned in your resume. Of course, if you're going through and you see that you do not have any of those qualifications, obviously don't put those on your resume. Because resumes for federal jobs are so specific, you're going to want to go on usajobs.gov and look at the resources that they have available. So you can even build your own resume on USA Jobs using their template. You might want to start there just to get the gist of it. Anyway, there's a lot of details. I don't have time to go into it now, but be sure to check out the resources on usajobs.gov, set up your search, get your resume ready, and then just be ready to apply to any job that comes up. I just want to go through some of the myths that I hear a lot about being a park ranger or surrounding work in the Park Service. No matter who you are, if you work in the National Park Service, you have heard one of these myths. The first myth is that you have to carry a firearm if you are a park ranger. So if you are a law enforcement park ranger, yes, you do have to carry a weapon. You do specialized training for that, and they're federal police officers, so they carry weapons. The rest of us do not have to carry a firearm and cannot carry a firearm. Another myth I hear a lot is that you are assigned to locations. A lot of people think that this is like the military in that you are moved around. No. You apply to each position in each location. A lot of park rangers start out doing seasonal work, which usually in most of the country is going to be during the summer because that is the high visitation season. In certain parks like Everglades and places in California, you do get the reverse where the winter season is actually their high season. So there are fewer winter jobs, but they do exist in certain places. Most people will start and stay as a seasonal for, a few years. The National Park Service is very, very underfunded. Everything that's an issue in the National Park Service is pretty much due to budget concerns. My point is, most people don't join the Park Service and immediately have a permanent full-time job. Generally, people are going to move a lot and stay seasonal for a while. Some people stay seasonal forever. Some people love that. They just get to move from park to park. That is a part of the job, the uncertainty of having to apply every season to a new place. Some people don't thrive in that. It's a lot of change. I've talked about this before. You're constantly moving. You're constantly thinking about what's next, applying to new jobs. The federal hiring process takes a really long time. So you have these long periods of uncertainty where you have no idea where you're going to be next. My whole point in all of this is that no, you're not assigned to a location like in the military. Another myth I hear a lot from visitors is they'll say something along the lines of like, wow, what a great office you have, which is true. But they seem to think that all we do is hike around and just hike, I guess. No, we're not doing that. A lot of ranger positions are in offices. I hate to break it to you. Here's another thing that's kind of irksome, I guess. It's definitely this preconceived notion that the jobs that park rangers do are kind of fluff, and they are, it's just an easy job. First of all, you are a representative of the government, so there are a lot of things you cannot do and say. Of course, anyone who's worked in retail or restaurant work or anywhere where you're dealing with the public, there are plenty of really unhappy people that will come in and yell at you for any number of reasons. I've been yelled at because the speed limit in the park was too low. I've been yelled at because, the pass that they thought they had, they didn't have, and they're yelling at you because they forgot whatever. And there are positions that I've applied to where so much of the interview was them asking, how do you feel about being yelled at? Like, so much of the job is being yelled at. So just a reminder to be nice to people. Just because we're standing there and telling you an answer that you don't want to hear, it's not us. If we had enough control to control, the rules for the federal government, we Okay, will this have been 5 minutes? I highly doubt it. I feel like I just spoke a lot, and I don't know how that's going to be narrowed down into 5 minutes, but if you've been here a while, you know that I have yet to hit the 5-minute point, so maybe I should just change this whole thing to like 10-minute Friday or something. As always, if you have suggestions and you want to hear about certain topics, if there's something in this episode that you have more questions on or you want me to elaborate on, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll try to answer any questions if you have them on, becoming a park ranger. I think that's about it. So, peace. I'm not going to go any further on that for all the national parks. I'm going to leave it right there. Yes, but no. I guess there could be. Lastly, oh my god, law enforcement does carry weaponry. The rest of us, who it's available to apply for. What was I going to say?